1:15. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The afternoon news edited by Catherine Pereira, read by Soundi Thavam. It has been stressed that the surcharge tax will not be imposed to the EPF. A tense situation erupted in Parliament with the bringing of some equipment which is not allowed by the opposition members. A group of TNA parliamentarians engaged in a protest campaign at the Presidential Secretariat office with the aim to discredit the government. A solution to the existing fuel crisis in the country. The Navy seizes 2 Indian trawlers for poaching in northern waters. President Zelensky warns Russia that they will defend themselves. Minister Nimal Siripala de Silva said that the surcharge tax will not be charged to the EPF under the Surcharge Act. He said the relevant amendments will be brought after submitting the Surcharge Act to the Parliament. He said the Finance Minister had stated that tax will not be charged. He made these remarks answering a question raised by parliamentarian Dr. Harsha de Silva in Parliament on surcharging the EPF. Meanwhile, Parliament was adjourned by Speaker Mahinda Abeyewardene for 10 minutes following a tense situation. The tense situation erupted after several SJB MPs were seen bringing torches into the House. A group of SJB MPs have started protesting inside Parliament. A group of TNA parliamentarians have arrived at the Presidential Secretariat office by saying to hand over a letter to the President. They held a protest campaign there without pre-notice of their arrival, and the instant the President was not at the office. Presidential media spokesman Kingsley Ratnayaka said that the aim was to hand over a letter to discredit the government at the Geneva summit. The chairman of the Petroleum Corporation, Sumit Vijayasinghe, says that the existing fuel shortage in the country will be eased within the next few days. At this moment, the government has not decided to increase the fuel prices. 37,500 metric tons of diesel was unloaded from the ship, which was released by paying more than $35 million. Another fuel ship is scheduled to arrive in the island in the next few days. State Minister Dilu Mamanugama says that if a fuel shortage is created, a program will be planned to issue fuel needed for private buses from the SLTB filling stations. He said that attention was paid in this regard at a discussion held with the Finance Minister. There are sufficient stocks of fuel for 2 days at the SLTB and the Department of Railways. He said that he believes that the Petroleum Corporation will receive the fuel stocks soon. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The Sri Lanka Navy seized 2 Indian trawlers with 22 Indian fishermen while poaching in Sri Lankan waters. The apprehension was made in northern waters of Sri Lanka during a patrol carried out last night. Considering the impact of foreign fishermen poaching in Sri Lankan waters on the local fishing community and threats to the biodiversity of the country's marine environment, the Navy has been conducting regular patrols and operations to curb such illegal activities of foreign fishermen in Sri Lankan waters. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa is engaged in an impromptu inspection visit at the Sri Lanka Railways workshop in Ratmalana today. The Ratmalana Railway Maintenance Yard, established in 1933, is one of the oldest government departments in Sri Lanka. That's local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Minister Mahinda Amaraveera has advised the regional engineer of the Geological Survey and Mines Bureau to suspend the permit temporarily which was given to maintain the stone quarry at Vaduva Kohutale, that is an ancient heritage of Dambadeniya. The minister paid his attention in this regard, with some protests published in media against this process. Meanwhile, information has also revealed through media that environment hazard has been caused due to dolomite excavation being carried out at the Galbokka Hills near the Sankapala Vihara. The minister advised the officials of the authority to provide a report in this regard within a week and came to you in the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
This is Watchlight.
Pregnant mothers in several villages in Ahangama are facing many difficulties of not having a building for maternity and child clinics. The Habaradua Pradeshya Sabha has not taken measures to construct a new building for this purpose. The pregnant mothers stated that they have to go to clinics miles away of distance to get their service. This is for the attention of the Habaradua Pradeshya Sabha and came to you in Watchlight.
Coming up, World News.
Making headlines this afternoon, President Zelensky warns Russia that they will defend themselves. Former Malaysian Prime Minister poised to return to politics after being discharged from hospital. Face mask found in sea turtles' droppings. Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky has warned that Russia could start a major war in Europe any day now and called on Russians to oppose it. In a late-night address, he said he had unsuccessfully sought talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin. He said Russia had almost 200,000 troops and thousands of combat vehicles on Ukraine's borders. Ukraine's leader said his country was ready for a Russian attack, vowing, "Quote, if Russia attack, if they try to take their country, their freedom, their lives, the lives of their children, they will be defending themselves," unquote. Former Malaysian Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad has expressed his intention to return to politics after being discharged from hospital. Mahathir held a news conference yesterday after leaving hospital recently, and he had been treated for cardiac disease. The 96-year-old has been hospitalized in the capital Kuala Lumpur 3 times since last December. He was reported to have temporarily been in a critical condition. During yesterday's news conference, Mahathir boasted of his recovery, that he can still be logical because he has fully recovered. Japanese researchers have found a face mask in the feces of a sea turtle that had inhabited the coast of Iwate Prefecture, northern Japan. A group of researchers from Tokyo University of Agriculture and Technology and the University of Tokyo studies the ecology of sea turtles in the area. They say the non-woven fabric mask was excreted by the green sea turtle that was caught in a fixed net last August and is now being kept by the group. The mask is made from polypropylene and measures about 9 centimeters and by 14 centimeters. The ear loops are still attached to it. Back to the headlines of the world news. President Zelensky warns Russia that they will defend themselves. Former Malaysian Prime Minister poised to return to politics after being discharged from hospital. And face masks found in sea turtles' droppings. That concludes this bulletin of world news.
Development News is brought to you by Let's take all out of the coconut tree and make the island thriving and prosperous. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928.
Several development projects are being implemented in the Pallepolla Divisional Secretariat Division under the 100,000 work programs from the budget. Many projects, including rural road construction, development of playgrounds, construction of small-scale bridges, and several other construction work is underway in the division successfully. And that came to you in Development News.
Development News was brought to you by the coconut tree is well grown in almost all the parts of the island. It is an exceptional source of extra income. The shell, the husk and almost all the parts of the coconut tree makes you money, providing you with an excellent extra source of income. It will also help to nourish the economy of the country. You will be guided with all necessary informations regarding the coconut cultivation, with the novel cultivation techniques and all other related and upgraded informations by the Coconut Research Institute, Lunavilla. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928. Sports News is brought to you by
Sampath Bank. We present your future.
The Sri Lanka weightlifting team will leave for Singapore today to participate for the forthcoming Singapore Weightlifting International Championship, which is scheduled to be held from tomorrow, the 27th, in Singapore. The 10-member men's team and 9-member women's team are expected to take part in this tournament, which is going to be a good exposure for the local weightlifters before the Asian and Commonwealth Games, the 2 major events of this year. The National Super League Cricket Tournament organised by the Sri Lanka Cricket Institute will begin today. Colombo, Jaffna, Galle, Kandy and Dambulla teams will compete today. The final matches of the tournament will be held on the 7th, 8th and 9th and 10th of April at the Galle International Stadium and came to you in sports news.
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Huawei, a global innovative smartphone manufacturer, unveiled Huawei Nova 8i along with many other innovative products at an exclusive launch held recently. The products will offer more value for a convenient price. The event was held at the Colombo Hilton under the patronage of representatives of the Huawei management team with media outlets. Country manager of the smartphone Huawei, Chris Kai, said that they hope to launch this smartphone to the Sri Lankan market and came to you in business news.
Business News, sponsored by
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
On to economic news, Sri Lanka will showcase its world-famous sapphires worth $100 million at the Expo 2020 Dubai on the Sapphire Day this weekend. According to the organisers, the sapphire exhibition at the Sri Lanka Pavilion on Saturday will feature gems including more than 1,000 years old sapphire known as a Kusif Arabic, which originates from the 10th century. That came to you in economic news.
The weather report.
The Met Department says that showers and thundershowers will occur at times in the north central, eastern and Uva provinces and in Nuwara, Matale and Hamathara districts. A few showers are likely in the northern province. Showers and thundershowers will occur at several places in the western and Sambragama province and in the Galle, Matara and Kandy districts during the evening or night. Fairly heavy showers above 50 millimeters can be expected at some places. To conclude this bulletin of news, a recap of the headlines. It has been stressed that the surcharge tax will not be imposed to the EPF. A tense situation erupted in Parliament with the bringing of some equipment which is not allowed by the opposition members. A group of TNA parliamentarians engaged in a protest campaign at the Presidential Secretariat office with the aim to discredit the government. A solution for the existing fuel crisis in the country. The Navy seizes 2 Indian trawlers for poaching in northern waters. And President Zelensky warns Russia that they will defend themselves. That concludes this news broadcast.